Every night, while you sleep, your savings account is being drained. Not by a hacker, not by a thief, by the very institution you trusted to protect it. According to FDIC national rate data, the average national savings account interest rate hovered near 0.5% between approximately 2020 and mid-2022, a period when inflation was simultaneously climbing. Meanwhile, according to BLS CPI data, U.S. inflation ran between approximately 3 and 5% during key periods including 2021 through 2023, often outpacing what standard savings accounts returned. That means the average American saving diligently, doing everything right, is losing purchasing power every single year. The bank isn't just failing to protect your money. The structure is built so that it couldn't, even if it wanted to. By the end of this, you'll understand exactly how that gap, the spread between what the bank pays you and what your money actually earns them, fuels one of the most profitable and least discussed mechanisms in modern finance. And the answer involves a number printed in documents most depositors never read, a number that reveals just how wide that gap truly is. Let's start with what a savings account actually is. When you deposit money, you're not storing it, you're lending it to the bank. The bank takes your deposit, pools it with millions of others, and lends it out at significantly higher rates. Rates that, according to Federal Reserve consumer credit data, have historically reached into the high single digits for personal loans and well above 20% for credit cards. You get 0.5%. They keep the rest. This is called the net interest margin, and it is the engine of commercial banking profit. In recent reporting cycles, the largest U.S. banks reported net interest margins generating tens of billions of dollars in quarterly profit. JPMorgan Chase, for example, reported net interest income exceeding $20 billion in a single quarter in 2023, a figure detailed in its publicly filed quarterly earnings reports. The fuel for that machine? Deposits. Your deposits. But here's where it gets interesting. When the Federal Reserve raises interest rates, banks can immediately charge borrowers more. Mortgage rates climb, credit card APRs adjust, auto loan rates spike. But deposit rates, they lag, sometimes by months, sometimes indefinitely. This asymmetry has a name in academic literature. It's called deposit rate stickiness. And it is not an accident. Research from Federal Reserve economists has found that commercial banks historically pass through only a fraction of rate increases to depositors, while pass-through to borrower rates tends to be faster and more complete, a dynamic documented in Federal Reserve Bank of New York staff research. The margin widens, the profit grows, and the average depositor, watching a 0.45% APY on their app, has no idea they're sitting at the center of the mechanism. Remember what I said at the start, the money being drained while you sleep. Here is the documented arithmetic. If you hold $10,000 in a standard savings account earning 0.5% annually, you earn $50. If inflation runs at 4%, your real purchasing power loss is $400. Net result, you are $350 poorer in real terms, every year, without touching a cent. And this is the part nobody talks about. High-yield savings accounts do exist. Some online banks and credit unions have offered annual percentage yields between 4 and 5% during high-rate environments. Rates publicly listed and verifiable through financial comparison platforms and NCUA data. Rates that actually approach or match inflation. But these products are rarely advertised by the largest institutions. The customers who find them tend to seek them out deliberately. The ones who don't stay where they are. That asymmetry of information may function in effect as a revenue advantage, whether by deliberate design or simply by the absence of incentive to correct it. The FDIC insures deposits up to $250,000 per depositor per institution. That guarantee creates trust. That trust creates inertia. That inertia creates captive capital. The system doesn't need to deceive you. It only needs you to not look closely. So we return to where we started. Every night, your savings account loses ground, not through fraud, through structure, through a spread that is documented, legal, and hiding in plain sight inside a rate disclosure most people scroll past without reading. The question the data leaves unanswered is this: If high-yield alternatives exist and outperform standard accounts by a factor of 10, why do trillions of dollars remain parked in low-yield accounts at the largest banks? Is it inertia? Is it trust? Or is it something behavioral economists have long documented? The way default options, familiar branding, and the perception of safety shape financial decisions in ways that don't always serve the depositor's best interest.